Welcome back to the WatchTower Film Podcast, the film review podcast on the Towercast Network by Cinephiles for Cinephiles.
Like, wham.
Why the wow? Owen Wilson is in this picture.
Exactly.
So?
We're all thinking it.
No, we're not. This isn't the first one he hasn't been on.
No.
He hasn't been in every single one.
Mm-hmm.
French Dispatch?
Every single one.
Yes. Has he actually?
Every single one. Every single one.
Mm.
I also didn't see Jason Schwartzman anywhere.
Jason Schwartzman missed out
That
on
one's
some.
a little bit more of a...
He missed out on some, though.
What do you mean?
He wasn't in
Sounds kind of...
in Royal Tenenbaums.
Emotionally, he was there. But anyway, welcome back.
Welcome back to Wes Anderson month on the WatchTower Film Podcast. We're here to continue Wessie month.
We just came from the theater.
We actually did. This is why it's early in the
here.
frame.
It's early.
It's early.
Spicy.
We caught a matinee of the new Phoenician Scheme, 2025, Wes Anderson's newest picture.
Oh my God.
A solid, tight hour 45, this one. Or hour 41, actually. So, before we talk about the film, I want to introduce my fellow co-hosts and everybody in the room. Mr. Jean-Eric Astor, offering an acting perspective.
Woo! How you guys doing? Yeah,
Mr. Michael Lilla, our fellow Wes Anderson connoisseur.
I still got the hat.
I love this.
Offering a cinematography perspective.
I tried to get the Phoenician Scheme mug from Alamo Draft House, and they didn't have it.
They didn't have it?
No, like we asked them, and then
the
my
kids
parents are sweet. They also went, and they asked them to, like, hey, can we get the mug? And they were like, no, we still don't have it.
Just for
Like
kids?
they just haven't gotten there or they sold out?
I think they sold out.
Wow. You should have tried Montecillo.
Maybe. I'm also, because they asked them, they said, oh, let me go check. And they're like, yeah, we don't have it anymore, but I don't know if they did.
They also have a shop. You can just buy it online. Whoa.
I'm sorry, I was trying to raise up mine. I can't hear
Mine
you.
too. Mine's low. Can you raise it on your end?
Mine's
Austin?
perfect.
Because mine's super low.
Oh, okay, anyway. No, but yeah, so I tried to get it and it didn't happen.
Just bring it on. It's okay.
Oh, keep introducing who else is joining us today.
Offering cinematography perspective, Mr. Michael Lowe. My lovely wife walking into the frame.
This podcast is doing good. We got drinks
Somebody
now.
who
Hi,
considers
Sandra.
Thank you,
herself.
Sandra.
Are we all doing it? We're all getting down with the OPP? Okay.
And with OP.
I'll do one if... Sure.
Is it good?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Who else we got?
Eric is known to make good clamatos.
Actually-
there we go, Austin. That feels good.
Wait, but
Oh, that's
Mr. Austin.
yeah.
Ironious.
The youngest of the
On
young.
the ones and twos.
Austin
Make sure
Taint
some of the good
Young.
ones.
Keeping it damp, keeping it
Keeping it-
amped.
Keeping it damp while our producer CK is not on the pod. There's number 2 CK.
Where
you
are
hear
you,
me?
CK?
Where you at? And then stay there, babe. Stay there. Stay there.
Hey.
Stay there. Stay there. Next to Meg. Really quick.
Perfect.
On the podcast joining us today as well is my lovely wife, Sandra Morales. And
Hey, my lovely girlfriend, Meg. First time,
just
long time.
Meg. Just,
Oh, I know.
just Meg. No, they're on there. We all screen the film and stuff like that. And I like to think both of them are like, quote unquote, general audience members that might have a perspective on this as well. And
Yeah.
then Eric is somewhere here. Eric is here as well, making us clamatos. So shout out
I
to Eric for the
know.
lovely
Shout
clamatos.
out.
It came out really good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the heat.
Yeah.
For the heat.
I
for
love
the
the
heat.
fact that we all came here, and at first driving here, I was asking Meg, I was like, "Do you want anything? We're gonna be recording. We don't really have much at the shop. Like, we got some waters on." And she's like, "Nah, want nothing." I'm like, I can stop. Nah, I'm good.
Right.
But the second Eric showed up with beards, then it's like, oh, is Eric gonna do a clamatos? Because I'm down for that. Like
No. And then she went to our little kitchenette area and she's
Yeah.
like, so are there any snacks? And I was like, help yourself to whatever there is, but we really don't have a lot right now.
Yeah.
I only found sugar and like water. And
Was it just like
That's what
the
we live on.
temptation of like once you felt like there might be snacks in clamato, then it's like, oh, okay, now I'm tempted. Now like
I was like falling asleep, but now I'm just like, okay, now I'm craving something.
You caught your second win.
Yeah.
second win, that's fine.
Awesome. Well,
And, like,
Hold up.
better?
Who are you? Who's the one talking?
I'm your fellow film servant, Carlos M. de la Torre, offering a
Our-
writing directing perspective.
Humble film servant.
Mary Bean.
I think fellow's going to be the move.
Fellow's the move. We're changing humble to fellow.
Yeah, you guys
Fellow.
forced me into fellow, so
Why? What's wrong with
There you have
humble?
it.
What's wrong with humble?
I don't know. You
Fellow.
guys don't think I'm very humble, so
No. I
keep
just
it.
think you know what?
We'll
It-
keep it.
Oh, wah,
Third
wah.
days.
No. It's
Wah,
because
wah.
we always felt that like with humble, it's. Yeah.
Bit of a humble pie.
Yeah.
A slice
Yeah.
of humble pie. You want some pie?
Porfis. Porfis. No, I think with you, we always just felt the fact that like you would say humble, but genuinely big compliment. You have the most film knowledge of anybody I know in this city, and like I think because you're always bringing that perspective, as humble as you are, you're also the most versed.
Yeah.
So it's silly.
What's going
So
on
it's
up
silly.
there?
It's a silly notion.
Yeah, it's
to
kind of
call
like,
myself
how
humble.
can you be humble but also this good at cinema?
Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
your compliments, sir. Thank you so much. But nevertheless, a film servant, nonetheless.
Yeah, he's just our fellow.
I'm just a fellow.
He's just a dude.
and
Why
we
don't you say
are-
rad cinema dude?
rad cinema dude.
I'm just your rad cinema dude.
I feel like that's Eric. You know, he's the rad cinema dude.
He's the rad cinema dude.
With the
But we
curls.
are here to talk cinema, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to continue talking about Wes Anderson. We're here to give you like a first. What do the kids call it on TikTok? Like
Hot
a first
take?
hot take, or
Hot tip?
a first
Some Riz.
review, or what do they call them?
Hold on, it's hot
Like-
take, and then
thanks, buddy.
it's like
People call them like live reactions, no, or like what do they call
Okay,
it?
yeah, that's a little bit more. Like
Yeah, right.
reactions.
yeah. Or it's like
anyways.
a review after the movie. It's like non-spoiler review, but I
Right.
think it was good or something. Because
Yeah.
I do follow like a lot of people that like do like film or get invited to the premiere of films. And
Right.
they're like, hey, here's a non-spoiler movie
Well,
review. So yeah.
Here's the thing. Everybody on this podcast knows, if you're a fellow listener, we're going to spoil the fucking film. So don't come
Yeah.
here for that shit.
Because
Yeah.
and I guess it's good that we mentioned that now because
Yes.
as of this recording, the film's only been out
2 days, 3
2
days.
days. So
The sixth
yeah,
day.
and they did have like an earlier screening the week before, and I
Yeah.
know New York's had it a week before too.
New York, LA.
Yeah, so people are slowly starting to trickle, but I'd say if you see our episode and don't want it to be spoiled, which I wouldn't want it to be spoiled either. I don't
Yeah.
think there's too much to spoil, but definitely go to the theaters to watch
Yes,
it.
please.
Wes Anderson is notorious for having his films only be a couple of weeks in the theaters,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna leave. And like when we went, it wasn't like super crowded.
No,
like
in fact, the screening. We went to a matinee. To be fair, on
Yeah.
a Sunday.
True. I mean-
So to be fair, was it like the theater I went to? There was maybe 5 people total, with me.
really.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers! Oh my god!
I got a
cheers.
hot take on that.
Also, it's a good strategy for Wes Anderson because it's like, hey, you guys, like, if you see my trailer, come see my movie. Like, you only have like 3 weeks.
Trust-
You have to fill up the
It also
like,
helped
yeah.
that he was blown up on TikTok because of his trend.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, like right before this one, I think it was like
Yeah.
right in between Asteroid City and all that.
Yeah, I
when
remember,
TikTok,
yeah.
like, oh my life, but it's accidentally a Wes Anderson movie.
Right.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah,
I
but
love-
we
Actually,
Well, the
Juventus
trend
one
the
pretty good.
trend actually got resurfaced because the Phoenician Scheme premiered at Cannes, and when it was at Cannes, everybody started doing
Wes
my
Anderson.
life in Cannes as Wes Anderson, and they would just
Yeah.
Yeah.
so they did
oh
it
my
again.
god, and it's so
So
good,
it's so good.
and fantastic. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Should I
So
go
let's-
into ratings first?
Let's get into ratings.
Yes.
Let's get into ratings. And by the way, Eric and Sandra, where Meg's sitting, this is like the quote unquote visitors area. So if you guys have a hot take on Wes Anderson, you do, babe. So don't say you
So
don't.
does Eric too.
Okay,
Come on, Eric.
And then Eric this is only like his 3rd or 4th Wes Anderson film. So it might be good to and Eric loved the film. So anyways, come and talk
Which
at
Eric?
your leisure, as
Yeah.
Meg is doing.
Which
I
Eric?
know who should go first.
Who?
Our lovely producer, Eric C.K. Nunez.
Oh,
shit!
Wait, what the
up,
heck?
though? He's got a take. There's
He
a
already watched
Oh
pre-recorded
my
video.
God.
He watched it too.
Here we go. Let's listen to this.
I'm always
wait.
pre-recorded.
I was about to say hello.
Yeah. So I called him the other day and told him, can you screen it and send us a video to get a reaction from you guys? So
All right, dope.
Wow.
Hello. Surprise from LA. What's up, guys? What's up? I'm so sorry I can't be
Looks
over there
good.
right now.
Back
but
in the grind, man.
I did get to watch the Phoenician Scheme finally. Not on film, but I got to watch it.
Wow.
Nice.
And I got to give it a quick fire rating of a 7.9. The
Wow.
best way that I can describe it is all that jazz is combined with like The Apprentice. You know, like a biopic of, or the biopic of Benihana that's going to be coming out.
Benihana.
The owner of Benihana, who's also the dad of Steve Aoki
He is.
and the girl from Fast and the Furious.
He was also
Anyway,
on Wolf of Wall
I
Street.
digress.
think,
Just imagine a businessman biopic combined with all that jazz. It's a really good movie. It's just the story could kind of like still flow a little bit better in my opinion. But I know the
he's got a really good
cinematography,
point.
Michael, you're gonna have the time of your life killing that up. Like every single shot. Please start with the bathroom shot. You guys know which one. You guys
That's
already know
great.
which one.
It's so great.
But hell yeah. Thank you guys, man. Watch the Phoenician Scheme if you haven't. And thank you guys for watching the episode. We'll see you soon, guys.
CK!
Why did I feel
Delivering
like
Rachel Nevada.
we just got a cameo from a famous person?
He
like,
is, man. He's over here living the LA
yo,
life.
I'm over here in LA. Like, check out my crib.
MTV crib. Welcome to my crib.
right.
No, but he did hit some interesting points. I didn't think about the all that jazz connection, but there's these afterlife dream sequences in black and white, and they're very all that jazzy. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Oh man, I didn't make that either, but
Cool. Good observation, CK, and good rating. 7.9 is fair.
That was my little surprise for you.
We
That's
should-
awesome, dude.
That
we
is
should
cool.
have him chime in like for everything. That
He should
has
be
seen.
like involved with
He
this
did it once, now
podcast.
he
That'd
has
be
to do it
great.
again.
jump on.
Do it again.
You get to pick who goes next, Pally.
All right. Well,
I know you wanted it like Meg to do like a quick.
So in case you didn't know,
Okay.
He's all proud.
yeah.
So she could go back to her
No,
evening.
yeah.
No, I mean, I don't care.
No,
I like to
Meg,
be here.
like, you know what's funny is that
I want to be
man.
here.
I'm done and the
The
ice
day
is
I'm
good.
off.
That's pretty
The day I'm off.
No,
I'm
no.
like, let's do everything today.
you know what's crazy is
Do
that
everything today.
we made the joke, like Austin made a joke earlier. He was like, "Oh, you know what?
Bartender.
You need to
Bar
go and
wench.
wow." Yeah, Austin made a joke earlier. He was like, Meg and Sandra and Eric are going to come and they don't want to listen to us talking about this movie that we just watched. So he was like, wouldn't it be funny if you got them like a coloring book and then just put them in the corner?
Sandra would have been over the moon.
Yeah,
Now it
exactly.
makes
And then
sense.
like I was like, oh wait, I just found this like rock painting kit. And I was like, oh, it's so funny. But then like I remember showing Meg right now and she was like, I'm on the podcast. What are you talking about? And I was like, oh, you want to be on? She's like, yeah, of course I want to be on. Like, why wouldn't I want to be there? I'm
Right.
like, oh, okay. So yeah, Meg's joining us. I think we're all going to have a lot to say about it, but I'd like to see an unbiased opinion. So you watched it with us.
Yes.
Rating 1 to 10. I know that this is your second Wes Anderson film. It's basically Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I think is a great intro for a lot of people.
Never seen it.
Yeah, I know.
So
Oh,
this is your
sad. It's
this is
such
only
a
your
good
second
movie.
one, Meg?
Yeah.
No, the joke
'cause-
there, babe, is that during the pandemic, every episode that's mine, Austin fell asleep during the movie, so he watched none of my picks, and we counted them. It was all of my picks. So one of my picks was Fantastic Mr.
Or
Fox.
I just straight up never watched it.
It's so good. I remember when I was little, my family got us a DVD. And they're like, I don't know what it is. This is an animated movie.
yeah, it's got a fox.
We popped it in, and my brother's autistic, so he's like, hey, I like this. This is so good.
Picasso.
So we kept watching it and watching it and watching it and continue watching it.
Yeah.
But we never got sick and tired of it. It was so good.
That's awesome.
so
No wonder you're with this one.
How you doing?
no, but when I saw this movie, I was like, it's Fantastic Mr. Fox. Like,
Oh yeah, like 2 seconds in,
like-
she picked up on the West.
On the West-
Yeah,
Wesisms.
because it's like
Wesisms.
I remember you were showing me a movie and we never got to actually finish it, but every clip was like a picture, like a photograph. So you
Oh,
can pause it
yeah.
and you could be like, okay, this is like a photograph. It's
For
like
sure.
perfect. Like I know Eric was saying about the bathroom scene.
Yeah,
I
it's
think that was
great.
that was beautiful. Like the way they were introducing the actors who
I
who
think
they were playing
that's
with.
Wes's way of doing like the Chazelle thing of like, you're in a Wes Anderson film.
Yeah.
Get out now if you don't
Yeah.
like this shit because this is what it's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he like holds anything back when it comes to like the visuals. Like,
Yeah.
like that the feeling you got saying, "Oh wow, this is like Fantastic Mr. Fox." Like that feeling. I remember when I started looking into the rest of his filmography, and I got that exact same feeling. Like I was like, "Oh my god, it's this!" And now that I've seen, and I'll say it, almost everything, I'm only missing Bottle Rocket, which is like his first ever film. Once like I get that one, I'll see everything, but they all have their like quality. That's
They
why
do.
we're talking about him this whole month because you know it's a Wes Anderson film.
Yeah.
Like the first 5 minutes, you'll already know like exactly what it is.
It's
So.
basically like a signature. You
It-
know
it is.
whose
Yeah, yeah.
signature it is by like the unique way they write it.
And
you
it's
know?
we've been trying to break
Yeah.
it down, but it's more than just the symmetry and everything.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of complexity which we'll get into. But
Yeah.
what did you feel like 1 to 10?
I went Eric like a 7.
Like a 7?
Yes, because the other guy that went with us with his wife, he's saying that there was like a lot of repetitive movements, like moments that was like, okay, oh
That's
yeah,
where I'm at.
okay, yeah, you know, okay. So it's like, but it was good. I really
Yeah.
liked it. So it was interesting, but I have to watch it again to be like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, you know,
Yeah.
it's like the
Yeah.
first time you're like, okay, I'm like sinking it in.
Yeah.
Second time you're examining the movie, you're just like, hey, this is
Yeah.
what's going on. This is what's
For
happening.
sure, for
So
sure.
yeah, I was like,
Cool.
okay,
Yeah.
I'll watch it again.
So like a
Awesome.
7 overall. Okay.
Yeah, I'll watch
Interesting.
it again.
Interesting. 7, but worth the rewatch. Let's go. Can I get Austin next? And then I think I'll jump to Eric.
Hi, my name's Austin. I'm 2 weeks sober.
It sure is.
You look 1 week sober.
2 weeks.
You look like you need a drink.
Salud, salud.
Yeah, that's it.
You look like I can use a drink.
You make me want to drink.
You make me want to get back in.
A 2 the lao, just for that.
Wow.
Not all for real.
Wow.
though.
Worst Wes film ever.
Yeah, finally an
Joke.
honest
No,
take.
no, it's-
That what?
Jesus Christ.
Weren't you snoring in the movie though? I heard
Oh
the
no, baby, that too? Was he really? He fell asleep.
Dude, he was laughing 1 minute and
It's
then like,
okay. He
was like, what?
he got a little Mimi's. It's okay.
Okay, that's the signature Austin. That means when he
No.
likes it, it makes him feel cozy.
I feel
yeah,
so safe.
That's a good one.
No,
I literally asked her.
No,
was
it's
he
'cause-
laughing.
Austin got off work and then like went straight over. So he
Right.
was like, I was in that in between state of like, I need to be here.
Oh, this
for
is the worst. Yeah.
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 But overall, like, how'd you feel about it?
7.7.
7.7?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see why the fans of the older Wes stuff really enjoyed
Yes.
Yeah.
it. 'Cause
That's
like
interesting,
my
yeah.
initial thing was like, this was Wes going back to being Wes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I definitely prefer his newer stuff more. Like Asteroid City, Grand Budapest.
Yes.
Agreed.
Compared to like this.
Okay.
But I think Benicio was the highlight of the entire film.
Oh my God,
yeah,
right?
sure.
That's
He's
most
terrific.
definitely, yeah.
He's terrific. I think most of the time when we see Benicio as a leading man, we don't see him in these capacities.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
we see him in a crime thriller. We see him as this. Like we don't see him get playful and like this character had a lot of heart. Had a lot of heart, especially in the end.
Do you think it's early to
I'm
see a
calling
nod?
it- I was about to say I'm calling it now. I think he might get one.
I was
Nah.
gonna, you don't think he'd get a nod?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for this, yeah. I
Yeah.
think so. I think so.
I
I
thought
just
it
feel
was.
like he was too restrained. I'm seeing these characters every single movie that I watch, and
Yeah.
they're just too restrained sometimes. I feel like okay, I'm watching a Wes Anderson, but
Well, let's go into your rating real quick because I have a quote or an idea on the restraintness.
Right.
yeah,
I've always felt that Wes Anderson's characters they act like they're on stage. Where have you ever seen clips
sure.
from the play that goes wrong?
no, but it sounds good though.
So the whole idea
Sounds like
is
went wrong.
like there's multiple things that go wrong on the stage or with the actors, like they'll bump into each other, and the actors play it off like I have to keep performing the role,
Like
even
improv.
even though you can't do it anymore. Like there's a moment when like an actress is like fighting with this dude, but she misses her like foot mark, so you see her trip off the stage, but the other actors don't know what to do, so they keep performing like, how could you say that? And there's nobody there because she tripped off the stage, but they'll keep
Yeah, yeah,
interacting
yeah.
with that. And it's this whole thing of like all Wes's characters feel like they're on stage playing their roles and they're trying to play them correctly. And it's the world around them that when little things go wrong, they just have to keep playing the role. They can't like get overly emotional about it. If that makes sense.
If that perspective is true, which I think it is, I think you're right. It's that much more meta for something like Asteroid City, and
Yeah.
I think the stage you're talking about is the stage of life,
Yeah.
and that's where these characters live. Is
That's
on the
what I loved
stage
about
of
Asteroid
life.
City is that it's a huge metaphor for life being like a play, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what you are, you just need to keep doing the role. And I
Yep,
feel like
yep.
Asteroid City embodies that, but you see all of his films that's what they are. That's
Yeah.
why everything's in these straight lines. There's a proscenium, even like the whole montage with like God, which we'll talk more later on.
Right.
But that final scene in heaven,
Mary.
it's on a stage.
Don't
You know,
worry.
the stairway to heaven, but it's all in this horizontal setting where it just looks like they're walking across the stage. You know, like that left to right is the way a Wes Anderson movie moves, not up and down. You know,
Oh, well, we're on the directional
well,
aspect.
rating.
Well, yeah.
Go for it if you want.
No, just touching on that point of like the linear aspect of it. I agree that it goes from one direction to the next. What I think I've been analyzing about Wes films that I really like that make it very unique is Wes Anderson films for me feel like, you know how when you're a kid and you screen a film, like a Christmas film, and you screen like, you get to the montage where they go to the North Pole and you see Santa's workshop. And that workshop is like, Santa's workshop is like an assembly line, right? But it's not your typical Ford factory assembly line. It's like filled with contraptions, and it's built with this, and then it goes from this place to this place, and then it goes up and down, and then this way, and then it goes through a loop, and then through a tunnel, and then it gets to this place. Like, and it each has its kind of mechanism of working, and I think that Wes Anderson's films work that way. They're not a straight line as much as they are like this assembly line of like, this is where the story needs to go in order for me to tell it the way I need to tell it. Yeah. And I think that's what makes unique, like a unique kind of take on Wes Anderson films. What makes him so special and so unique as a storyteller.
No, every object and every situation feels very circuitous, but I mean, I think that's where the charm lies. Yeah. You know? But what's your rating? I know you got a lot to say on this.
I do have a lot to say. I just came up from such a high from the last film, Royal Tenenbaums, where this one just didn't really hit the spot, man.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with a 6.8.
Okay.
I just feel like he was talking about Paco saying that it got a little bit repetitive. I do feel that a lot about Wes Anderson, but one thing that really stands out for me, I guess as an actor and I do this stuff, is I can't, since I know it's a Wes Anderson film, I know that train isn't real.
That's interesting.
So, okay.
So you probably feel that same way when you go to a play.
Yeah. And that's fine. I get the whole that it's filmed like a play, and that whole pan, to the side kind of gets repetitive. You know what I mean? Like, it's good the first couple times, but when you do it a lot, it's kind of like saying the same word again.
Sure.
Oh, it's
good.
I understand that. Okay.
I just think I like this newer stuff better. I just think this one, all the characters kind of fell flat, and I think Michael Cera, Sarah, how do you say it?
Sarah.
Sierra.
Yes, that's Sarah. I think he was underutilized. I think he was the comedic relief. Obviously, there's always that one guy there. I just think he was underutilized.
But think about that for a second. Isn't that the point of his character? He's meant to be like this subtle thing until you realize, oh, he's a double agent.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I like that little twist for
that twist was great, but you can't, if you get some other actor or if you overly use him, it gets lost.
See, and that's what I think this film
or you
lacked.
you show your cards, you know?
I feel you just that for my type of test, I think it needed a little bit more comedic relief. I think that's why Austin kind of fell asleep. Because it's good. It's good. It's just I think the dialogue's a little bit too sharp, a little too congested, and I guess that's how it is. I understand that's how it is. It's just
when it comes to sharp dialogue and everything, you're gonna get nothing but that in the French Dispatch. I like so. If anything, I feel like when you look at the French Dispatch and look at this one, this is okay. I can only describe it on
really
spirit terms, but it's like drinking whiskey neat and drinking whiskey over the rocks with maybe a splash of Coke. Like I feel like this is
no, the French Dispatch is like if you combine something like this or something like Budapest with Asteroid City, like in terms of the complexity of the storytelling, it isn't directly linear, and the dialogue is very heavy.
No, yeah, I just think I don't know, man. I really like the Royal Tenenbaums, and it's this new stuff, and that one's a little bit loose on the and even the cuts. Whereas this one, I get it. We were talking about like he's not exploring other styles, and I know that's his tourism, I guess, but it gets repetitive.
You feel that way?
Yeah, I just felt like
it's also
good.
The fact that I think his previous stories, like especially when we're talking about like before Grand Budapest, they're more grounded, and they do feel like something that could happen in real life. Where later on, they're not real places. Like even when he was making Isle of Dogs, which is based off of like a 1950s Japan. Right. People wanted to criticize that movie, not for the storytelling or the style, but they said it's depicting a false version of Japan that isn't accurate to 1950s Japan. And he's like, well, I'm not trying to make a genuine 1950s Japan. I'm trying to make it what it looked like in the movies to Western audiences. Okay. And it's like, sure, that might not feel good. It might not feel accurate. Like even the way that they do these direct translations and all that. And it doesn't feel like accurate, but at that point, he's creating a world. Like the world of the Grand Budapest Hotel, that doesn't exist. The mountaintop and everything. And like, I'm starting to see more
I don't even think
of
the city exists.
Yeah. even like the Phoenician scheme, this Phoenician area that they're talking about, like it's not real, and it really is them creating its own world, not just its own like location, but even like the way they do like the blood transfusion and everything like that. The way that the characters have to move through framing. It's gotten to the point where when they build sets, they're building sets around what the camera's going to see.
Exactly.
Not around, yeah.
And I don't know, I was trying to look for a word for better, like for cheap. And I know it's not cheap. I know it's not cheap. But I'm trying to find a better word that gets that type of sense. As an actor, I'm seeing, okay, that's not a train. And I'm seeing that in a lot of his movies. It's like, okay, can I get past that and still get lost in the fantasy? And with this one, it just didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think there's this weird blend, and I've always said this, like when it comes to lighting, I've always wanted to find the beautiful bridge between the motivated and unmotivated lighting, but inspired a lot from like stage lighting. Because if you look at stage lighting, a lot of colors and tones that aren't like, they're not real, but on the stage, when you look at a play and these purples come in after somebody dies, you connect with that. You feel the emotion. And I feel like Wes is doing that not only in colors, but through visuals, through props, through these aesthetics that you would only see on a play like stage, but it creates it gets us where we need to be, if that makes any sense. As cheap as it all is, and as weird as it is, even like the blood transfusion stuff, the fact that
it was quirky, but I liked it.
It just
cheap in a way, but yes, I get it.
It gets us where we need to be as quick as we need to be, you know? Like, there's a lot of moments that, like, I noticed in this one, and I know it might feel repetitive, where a character would be on the right side of the frame, and then camera would pan over, and then they enter from left side of frame, which doesn't make sense.
But it's like a book. It's like a...
Exactly.
Like,
it's just,
like a storyboard, if you will.
Wes also bases a lot of that style off of like Buster Keaton and silent era films, where they're not playing into the gags being real, they're playing into them being visual gags. They're genuinely meant for the screen. Like there's a Buster Keaton gag where he hides behind a wheel from these cops, but then after the cops leave frame, he pops out of the wheel. And in real life, they can see in all directions, so they can see a dude hiding behind the wheel. Like it's not Looney Tunes, but for the joke to work, visually they know that the camera's only going to see a wheel, and if he hides behind that, it works. I feel like that's what Wes is doing.
So, Can I add something?
Yes.
Go for it.
You know, in that scene where he's confessing to his daughter that, hey, I didn't kill your mom, and the daughter just like slaps him, and the camera's like, oh, it's like the camera's moving, like he's getting slapped. Yeah, that was like very playful. People were laughing in the theater because like, oh, that's creative. Like,
super playful.
Who would have thought of that? You know, like. It was super fun.
Yeah, and what a fun like a POV shot, right? Of like you're in his body and you're not only getting slapped, but then the person that the camera ends at is a dude who's giving him blood and like is now judging him like, wow, you lied to your daughter about her mother's death? Like that's messed up, man. Like that's why right afterwards they're fighting, but it's like he's constantly being like slapped into that direction, you know?
Let me ask this question. I forgot the question.
Hey man, word hard.
Word hard,
so
word very hard.
The rating 6.8.
Oh, no, I got it.
Yeah.
So, from an actor, you're a lighting director, writer guy.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to take this film?
How are you supposed to take it?
Yeah, like. How am I so? Yeah, I guess that's where I'm kind of stuck. It's like, am I supposed to appreciate it since he's making it look effortless with the least amount of?
I have
production?
a perspective on that. It's going to be really long because I was. My parents had the same thing. So my parents went to the theater also. For their anniversary. Shout out to my wonderful family. But let's finish the ratings and then I'll break down what I think the core of it is, because I think that's what we're getting lost in, is that there's so many quirky elements, and that's how I was feeling about Royal Tenenbaums, that there's so many quirky elements that you lose, like, what's the story? What's the foundation? What do I connect with that I leave this movie feeling? And I think I have my take. I'm curious on yours and everybody else's, but I have mine. But Carlos, what's the jive, man?
Give some soul
you
to
want to
his
speak
mic.
jive?
You jive turkey, you.
What's wrong,
Let's talk
Coltrane?
soul, baby.
What's up, Coltrane?
What's up, Coltrane?
You want to talk jive?
I'm thinking about this one. I'm thinking that I was telling Austin on the way here that I feel like I currently feel the same way I felt after screening the first ever screening of Asteroid City maybe even French Dispatch also, where I walked away thinking, this ain't it. This ain't it.
Oh,
and
Asteroid City?
I remember feeling this way, and then I remember screening Asteroid City a second time and thought, what the fuck was wrong with me? I must have had a shitty
Screened it,
day.
like, on an
Yeah,
airplane,
Asteroid
too.
I screened it on an airplane. I was like on my iPad, like, what the fuck did I miss? I missed it, and it's so great. And then I've watched it like a third and fourth time since then with Asteroid City, and I think maybe that's just where I'm sitting at right now, where I'm trying to process this. In the meantime, I'll give the film a 7, because if I give it any lower, which I think it might deserve right now, it's not fair, because Wes Anderson films, as we've learned, right now in the space and the kind of fertile space in his career that he is right now, it requires multiple rewatches. And I think that the Phoenician Scheme, I don't know if it's going to make me feel like Asteroid City and Grand Budapest. I rewatched Grand Budapest a few days ago, just kind of leading up to this, and I can't get over it, man. Like I've been thinking about Grand Budapest so much since then, and I felt the same way about this last screening with Asteroid City. I can't stop thinking about Asteroid City and what it's trying to say
I love
and
that
stuff like
straight from
that.
the first movie.
I think the Phoenician Scheme is going to play out a lot better as we rewatch it because of the times we're living in, because of because of the current administration we have in office, how it's how like business is influencing the government.
Absolutely.
How grounded these individuals might be. Well, we don't see behind the scenes, which is what's their relationship or lack thereof with their personal lives, which is in this case right here, right? We have a bunch of tycoons. The tycoon we're focusing on has neglected his how many kids? 10 kids.
7
Yeah.
days.
Well, he was saying that they were adopted.
Right.
Well,
They
some are adopted,
and some
then,
were his.
Right.
But
But
his-
that's his commentary in
just
and of
hoping to get
itself
a
of
good
like
one.
billionaires. Like they get so bored and then they adopt 10 kids and then they end up like forgetting about them.
and that's also like a big metaphor for just like business tycoons in general. The fact that people will purchase a bunch of businesses. Just to like he says, hedge your bets. Like if let's
One
say,
of these has to.
like if let's say this
good.
like let's say you open up like 5 different like mom and pop like pizza shops,
Right.
and like 4 of them fail. You're like, it's okay. I still got like
The one
that
good
one
pizza
that's
shop.
gonna be making money.
And he
But-
says that about a kid. He says like this kid is gonna looks like that, and he's like this kid could be smarter than Einstein for all we know.
yeah, and
and he's checking out the sister, and he's like, and the sister's like all like holy and like
Right.
trying to
Yeah.
eat.
Right.
But
So
but that
funny.
whole idea of like if a business fails to these people, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Like that's the income, that's the livelihood of like individuals. But if it fails, well, I already bought a bunch of different ones.
But
And-
with the daughter's the only daughter. It's the only female.
yes,
He lost his wife tragically,
Yeah.
which is a straight connection to her, right? And he always kept tabs on her. Like he said, like I got your report cards, I got like your growth and medical, and like and says, oh, so you stalked me? He's like, yeah,
Yeah, you're, like,
I did.
spying on me. I
you're
remember she
spying
said
on me,
that,
right?
yeah,
And it's exactly that. It's like the enterprise that he cares about the most, and I think that's what this film's trying to say. Is like at the end of the day, these guys like they are gonna die, and he even says he's like, I hired arsonists to burn the house down with everything in it. He's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I
just
remember
to
he
like
said
for
that,
insurance
yeah.
purposes, right? But he's like, if all of this goes, fuck it. I basically have in this one safe a shoebox that means the most to me, and you're inheriting it. And it's the ashes of my father, the photographs of my family, the lineage of my family, and the proof that this uncle dude might have killed your mom.
Yeah, and the picture of when she got married.
Of the wife
yeah,
on her
the
wedding day.
wife, Yeah.
You know, those were his
Yeah.
prized possessions, and I think that's what this film is trying to say. And I think if we see it in this lens and we rewatch it
Again, yeah.
we're gonna be like, oh shit. And it's kind of like a bit of a cliche, right? Of that commentary of like you can't
Mm-hmm.
take any of this shit with you, and I think that's why the juxtaposition of the afterlife. And how many times he died through the course of
Yes,
this
he died.
film.
How many times
He
did he
said,
die?
like, I've died 6 times.
No,
and
but-
each
Yeah.
one,
Died like 5 minutes in.
even though he died like a few times here, he also like kept getting in these plane crashes. Like
Yeah.
this was like his 7th plane crash that he survived.
yeah.
8th now with
Yeah.
the like 2 in the movie. Like
Yeah. And
The opening
and
was
I
so
think-
funny though. When
Yeah.
he was like, "Hey, I think I have a gut outside, but I don't know how to put it in."
oh, it's harder than it looks.
So
So
the
he's just
point
like
where
holding.
like now he's a pilot, and
Yeah.
like he's like I know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
Like I can fix this. But my point with that is that I sit at a 7 because I know that this film has so much more to say that a first screening will ever give you.
Yeah.
And I think the lens I'm trying to see it through right now is like life possessions are nothing, and all these tycoons that work their entire lives to be billionaires and don't even end up having a good heir to continue their legacy. And even if they have the best heir in the world, just like his daughter, maybe none of this means shit. And you have a lot of like celebrities saying like, I think like we and I have talked about like Shaq being one of them. We're like, oh, what are you leaving your kids? Like fucking nothing. It's my money. It's my money. They got to learn how to make their own money. They got to learn their way through their own life, and that's how it is. There's a lot of celebrities that kind of go through that of like, let me sit you down and make you understand that life's not easy and money isn't easy. Yeah. And if you can live life being happy with yourself, you're going to be much better off.
Yeah. What does he say? He's like, I'm rich.
You're rich. Not rich. You're not rich. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the point of this film. I think if we can see it in that lens of like, what do we take with this life? What am I working for again? What's all this fucking work for?
Okay.
And then like the juxtaposition of an atheist, which is what he is. Multiple times he visits heaven, and he still doesn't believe until he meets his daughter, or until he has a relationship with his daughter.
Yeah.
And then he finally starts praying.
We were talking in the car, Michael and I, and it's like, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the world, you will never be able to buy what you've been wanting. Like, he wanted a relationship with his daughter.
And all the money in the world.
Like, hey, I can give you all the money in the world. You're the next one in the line. I'll give you everything. But she's like, I'm going to be a nun.
I think it's
like,
a commentary on that, too.
Money. Yeah.
It's diminishing her beliefs, right? Like, how much money can I give you so that you can diminish your beliefs?
And she's like, I want to be a nun. That's like my dream. Why are you trying to do this to me? And then the way he's like, kind of like pulling her in his adventure, and she's all like, okay, well, I'm stuck here. What else can I do? I
think at its bare bones, this film is a father and daughter story, right? And a reconnecting father and daughter story. That brings out that grounding element that all the early West fans love, right? But it does it in this complex packaging of tycoons and business and government and religion. And again, I think that's why I can't, like, right now I'm like, I don't know. At least when I walked out of the theater, and I've sat with it for a couple hours, and now I'm like, that's interesting. That's saying something. And mind you, I think a good double screening would be the Phoenician Scheme and Megalopolis. Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis, which is saying something similar. It's saying something similar on like building a fortune, and does it matter if you don't have a good heir, and does it matter if you don't have a good family, and what does government mean, and what does a position of power mean, and stuff like that. I couldn't, in this case, help but think about the other tycoons. And this is the last thing I'll say before I pass it over to the law for his take. But I couldn't help but think about the other tycoons and how lonely they are. And then we get the final like montage of what happens to most of these tycoons. Mm-hmm. And then they find their footing, and they find their outlet again. Scarlett Johansson's character, for instance, like didn't want to compromise her outpost, right? Her way of living, basically, to marry this guy because, and again, that's another commentary. Billionaires marrying each other as a business transaction.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm. And, it's just a chapter in the book.
And just those two characters kind of exploring that. So I think like, I couldn't help but think about like the Tom Hanks character and the Bryan Cranston character and just how fucking lonely they are. You don't get to see past the train for them.
Yeah.
You don't get to see past the basketball obsession for them, which I thought was a great scene. But I couldn't help but think, look at these guys. Like they have nothing but their business. And then when they're sitting in the conference room, you know, when they're about to sign the deal and who's going to take the gap and stuff like that, they're all just like miserable. They're non-reactive. And Benicio's character has gone in such an arc that he's the most reactive tycoon at the table now. He's shown all of his cards. He doesn't give a fuck anymore. He's saying, fuck my fortune. I'll pay for the gap and then some. I'm done. Like, I'm reactive. I can live life again. I can be reactive. And these tycoons are like stone-faced. And I don't know. I think that's saying something. So, at a 7 for now.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, like, a lot of celebrities now, they have all this money and they say, like, oh, go out there and work a job. Mm-hmm. But, like, how they sit on TikTok, they're cosplaying poor people. They're trying to be like, hey, guys, look, I am also in your position.
Right.
Look, I'm money. And it's like, no, dude, you have money, your bills are paid, you have good cars, your nails are done, your body's done, but you still are not happy.
Right.
Like, not to get too topical, and I know it's like not even that relevant if you ever did pay attention, but I don't imagine you guys have ever heard of rice gum.
No.
You've heard of rice gum? Yeah, it's this this kid who he was a streamer, ended up like getting really big and like famous on YouTube. That he started like trying to rap. His rap music was pretty bad, but like he like got a bunch of ghostwriters and all that kind of stuff. It basically made a lot of money, but then was trying to convince like his audience, hey, I'm just like you guys. Like I got to work a 9 to 5 and this sucks. And this whole thing of like, he needed people to keep validating him, but he was almost like climbing up an empire though, just alone.
I've been sending you guys a couple of these, mostly because I think they're funny, but I also think they're scary. I've been sending you guys like these TikToks, like AI created TikToks of hey guys, here it's your boy Aztec Rick in my first like decapitation or like in my first sacrifice and shit like that. Or like historical situations of like, hey, it's your boy John Wilkes Booth. I'm on my way to Fort Theater right now.
I saw the one where the Lion's Den where it's like, hey, so I just got tried and I'm here with the Lions. Like,
and it's ridiculous, but imagine like encompassing these ways of lives on social media. And also faking that you're in a very dangerous situation right now. Like,
yeah.
And
it shows off the fact that like, we live in an age where everybody plays a facade.
Yeah.
Like, and it's almost like even if you're not an actor, even if you're not anybody who's trying to have a personality, I've talked to people who are in industries like, like business, insurance, and stuff like that, and they're also careful about the facade they play when it comes to going out to parties, posting on social media. That now people aren't just being authentic. It's like you have to have a personality that's shown, and I think we're probably in the worst of it because we're all in media. So like I think now the new phase is that everybody who gets into filmmaking will go through a stage where they have an online persona. Just to present themselves and be like shout out to him. But you guys have seen Siggy, right? Mm-hmm. That recently he's like, his persona is like, I had a thought today. Today I'm thinking about. But how odd that normally you would never create that persona, but we're in an age where everybody has to have that.
I haven't talked to Siggy about this. I'm going to ask him, but I feel like that came out of David Lynch.
Yes.
David is like, today I'm thinking about clouds.
Oh, yeah.
And how grateful we should be for trees.
I've seen those.
I love the Lynch clip, and God rest his soul, but the one where it was like, it's Friday once again, he's shaking his phone like...
Oh, my favorite one's got to be the one in the car, though.
You can
I just had a cookie and a Coke. It's greatest.
Greatest day ever.
So good. God rest his soul. What's your rating, Mr. DeLo?
9.1.
Whoa, what? Whoa.
It's a 9.1. I know I got to live with it more, but I feel, okay, I would definitely rate Asteroid City higher. I'm probably going to rate Darjeeling Limited higher. But I'll give this one a 9.1 because...
Before you go, because you just named like one old one new. I'm curious. I agree. I think Asteroid City is substantially higher. But
agreed.
Let's compare it to his last three.
Last three?
Dispatch.
So Asteroid, French Dispatch, and say Isle of Dogs, right? Those are his last three. Oh no, forget Isle of Dogs. The Henry Sugar.
Oh god.
Oh, that's the one he won for an Oscar. That's the only one, right?
It's a short. Though.
It's a short. Yeah, it's a short.
Yeah, back off, Austin.
It's
good. So
where do you place this one and those four or those?
So
three?
Henry Sugar.
Back, right?
This one.
Henry Sugar's first.
So wait, which are we rating? Henry Sugar in this one?
No, the last three.
The last three.
So Asteroid City.
Not Asteroid Shitty, bro. It wasn't shitty. There's nothing shitty
Asteroid
about
City.
Yeah.
Henry Sugar, and this one
French Dispatch.
And Dispatch.
So so tier list for the four of them, I'd probably say Asteroid City. For production design and just execution, I want to put Henry Sugar, a very, very close French Dispatch.
I'm fuxing with you so
very
far.
Very close French Dispatch, and then I'd probably put like the Phoenician.
Okay, that's where you and I disagree. I agree with the first two. I'd put French Dispatch over this one. This is like number 4 of the last 4.
I haven't seen French Dispatch.
Yeah, that's where I put it.
More.
No, you put French Dispatch.
No, French Dispatch right after Henry Sugar.
Henry Sugar?
Yeah, so Henry Sugar, French Dispatch, and then the Phoenician Scheme.
Okay. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
I also feel like we haven't seen French Dispatch enough. I feel like this next time that we screen it for the podcast, it's going to fucking open up the world for us.
Yeah. Well, it's because this film is it's a take. Oh, well, let me rewind. I think this is him going back to singular narrative storytelling.
Yeah.
It's not this overly layered, multifaceted thing. Like when you watch Asteroid City, What a lot of people didn't like about Asteroid City, or at least the complaints I got from audience members, was the fact that it wasn't just a single story. It was like we had to have these different layers and the breaks, and then we're constantly jumping between timelines. So how do you focus on the thorough line? And
Let me ask you this about the through line. Do you feel like Henry Sugar then, in its own unique way, because it's technically 3 stories in one?
But it was more thorough lined.
That's what I said, through line. That's what I'm asking is if the through line
The thorough line?
No, not the thorough line.
But it's
no
thorough.
It could be as thorough as you want it to be, but it's a through line.
In a line.
Subtitles.
Was Henry Sugar a bridge into single storytelling again? Single narrative storytelling.
For sure. I think he learned a lot about the way he enjoys telling stories.
Yeah.
And really, because of Asteroid City, really diving into the stage aspect of his storytelling. The whole being on a stage, set lighting. I think that really made him find this new era of Wesisms that if you look into his last ones, not everything feels like fake, like you were saying earlier. But all of his latest stuff, in the ones you described, all those feel super fake.
Yeah.
But in the best possible way.
Yeah, I'm
This
not trying to
felt
say fake. It's just that we know what it is.
I know.
I agree with CK. I think that this is like though there is the business aspect to it, I'll liken this more to like all that jazz meets. You guys need to see a film called Black Narcissus by Powell and Pressburger, 2 British filmmakers. But that film is about a convent and a bunch of nuns, like just living life and what they like about it and what they don't like about it, and the drama and this and like father figures and husbands and whether it matters or not and this type of stuff. So I do feel like there is a layered aspect of that to, especially through the daughter character, that we might not be giving enough credit to.
What I told my family, and I was telling Meg on my perspective after we finished the film, because they were telling me like, there's just like there's a lot. Like they're like, I definitely want to watch it again. But it just felt like a lot. Like there's so many little like jokes and things that if you're not paying attention to, you kind of miss. And the visual gags. But they were saying, I just don't know what it was. What I saw was his take on like a Citizen Kane. You know,
Sure.
But with that whole question of like I was describing to Meg and Citizen Kane, the question is what's Rosebud? And Rosebud was the thing that he could never buy back, which was his childhood. And I feel very similar in this film. The one thing that this guy can't buy, he can get anything he wants. He can get around whatever he wants. But the one thing he can't get around is that if he wants a genuine family and a connection with his daughter, biological or not at this point, he can't buy that. He can throw money and everything, but he realizes like I have to build that. I have to build that connection. And when you see it through that lens and you see the way that he interacts with everybody else, then the moments when he has these near-death experiences and comes out and tells the truth, it's kind of like the truth is the only real currency.
No, and the entirety, every single call it dream sequence, afterlife sequence, whatever, it has the daughter in it. As an angel in different ages, like the daughter is present, almost like the guardian angel, and that's the most special thing for him, even in his death.
And even in one of the scenes, she was confessing that the dad kicked the mom out of the house, and she was like, I was just a kid, and they told me to go back to sleep, but I heard everything that happened. Yeah. So it's like, hey, look, your daughter doesn't like you, but she's seen if she's heard everything that you've done to the mom. So like, how are you gonna fix that?
Yeah. Her perspective on her is based on her interactions, not the last perspective she gets of her dad is the one she witnessed, not like him being absent for X amount of time.
Yeah.
I'll toss this out there. Hot take. We haven't had one in a while.
Jesus.
We haven't had one in a while.
God.
I'm gonna top. This was an actual hot take.
If it's not a hot take,
I
will mute you for the rest of the goddamn episode.
Hot take. Stop trying to make Wes Anderson cool. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I genuinely mean stop trying to make Wes Anderson cool.
You'll let it pass.
Valid.
Because everybody who's a Wes Anderson fan became a Wes Anderson fan. Not everybody. People who aren't cinephiles or are pseudo cinephiles want Wes Anderson to be cool and be the trend.
They want him to be Tarantino.
They want him to be Tarantino, or they want him to be Grand Budapest every time. And what I'm trying to say with stop trying to make Wes Anderson cool is imagine forcing Shakespeare to tell 10,000 times, to make Romeo and Juliet 10,000 times when he has Macbeth and he has these Othello and these other great stories that are to be told. You can't limit a genius, man. Like, let Wes Anderson be a genius in his own space. He's making a film for the masses, I understand, but why do we idolize the Fellinis or the Orson Welles or those dudes were not mass appeal people. Those dudes were making fucking art.
You can also say that about somebody like Scorsese. Everybody expects
Absolutely.
like the next thing to be another mob film.
Absolutely.
Or something. Like Irishman is a masterpiece, but then somebody over there on the set thinks it's the worst thing he's ever made.
That's what I'm saying.
I just feel like Wes is definitely for just a particular audience, whereas Marty is a little bit more. No, well, yeah, for sure. But I think
that's what I think that's what multiplexes. That's where multiplexes fucked cinema up. Multiplexes are good. Oh gosh, I'm gonna sound like Scorsese, but multiplexes are for our amusement parks, man. That's what they are now. They have arcades now and bowling alleys in them and shit. Like
But to be fair, we need that.
We need that to keep it alive, to keep that aspect alive in this day and age. But why are we going to Alamo? Because Alamo has great curation and it has
Dude, we were just talking about this with Javier the other day, where there's rumors that Flix is gonna buy out Montecillo.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
like Javier was like, Flix is the better food, but their selection of cinema is
Yeah,
not
no,
that
no.
great.
and that's what I'm saying is Wes Anderson doesn't belong in this pantheon of like Spielberg directors. He belongs in the pantheon of like Agnes Varda or like he is. Don't limit, Edgar Allan Poe to make The Raven 100,000 times. But when you have the Mask of the Count of Montecillo or like all these great fucking stories that aren't just The Raven or The Telltale Heart, like let them be geniuses. Let them explore other stories that are going to make them and their cinematic legacy special.
And I love the fact that when you look at Wes's filmography, especially like more recently, he's constantly referencing classic cinema, and he's constantly using that.
By the way, that's why I have this up. The name Zsa Korda is presumably derived from two of Hungary's most famous related characters. Film-famous related characters. Most of this place by the way, this film was shot in Germany predominantly, and it's set in that region.
By the way, I know because you didn't say towards the end of the credits, but I think they also shot part of it in New York and in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Because the Quebec and the New York film.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Good old Quebec.
Quebec.
Zsa Gabor,
I love Quebec.
famous German actress, famous, super famous. Zsa Gabor, and Alexander Korda, Vincent Korda, and Zoltan Korda. These were all three German filmmakers, Hungarian filmmakers, and that's our main character is named Zsa Korda.
Wow.
So he's just paying homage to classic cinema, even in his main character.
And you know what? The biggest justification that I can tell that he was also referencing Orson Welles' Citizen Kane is...
you get it from the first angle on the plane.
Not only from that
Casablanca.
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 Good old Casablanca.
He told me that in the Alamo pre-show they screened some Casablanca.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But the moment when he's talking to the daughter about, passing over the wealth and the throne, essentially, that he's like collected, and she says, "Oh, can I go over here for a second?" And then in that scene, really, it's supposed to be a very playful, like, "I don't respect you. That's why I'm over here. Like, I don't want to align with you."
She hit a wall.
No, but in that moment, I love the visuals on a cinematography front. Having Benicio be a bigger person, that he literally takes up the whole like height of the frame, and with her, she only takes up the height of the chair Benicio's holding, and that whole perspective thing being played in like Orson Welles films.
Telling you in that plane scene, that's the first thing that caught my attention was like once the fucking assistant gets blown to smithereens or whatever on the plane.
Oh man, what an opener! Jesus.
No, it was a tutor. It wasn't an assistant. It was a tutor.
No,
but
said it was the administrative assistant.
Yeah, because he's always like had people that he makes his administrative assistant, but like that's where you're like, that's where the last one.
Yeah.
God, what an opening though. I mean, like
But
the film
that-
just
that-
started and then she blows up. And
and
everywhere.
then instead of pulling back like any other director would just pull back, he pulls back and then he tilts up, and you're seeing the top of the plane for a bit, and you're like, what the fuck's going on here? And then he walks in, huge in the fucking frame.
You're right.
Just like a Citizen Kane shot from below the ground.
Austin was also saying that there were some shots that felt like, I haven't seen Wes use that before, but it's shots that I think are very inspired from Kane.
There was one that I loved, man, and you guys talking about the theater aspect. This film was one of the first times, if not the only time, where he does this thing. He hadn't done it since Bottle Rocket. I haven't seen it since Bottle Rocket. He does this great camera movement when they're in the hallway when he's fighting with the brother. You know, he's fighting with what's his name? Cumberbatch's character.
Yeah.
When they're fighting and they're like going around hallways and shit, the camera, instead of doing this, which is what it's been doing the entire film,
it
does this through a hallway.
I know.
Oh, it's
I
so
wish I
good.
could watch that shot because I was like, it's like 3D.
Yes,
Wes.
yes, it's like 3D Wes. He never does that.
Yeah, he hasn't done that in a while.
He has, I hadn't seen it since Bottle Rocket.
He did a little version of that in Life Aquatic.
Okay.
During the fight scenes where he'll follow Bill Murray's character.
Yeah.
Also, Bill Murray being God.
Pretty dope.
Big highlight.
And then Willem
like 5
Dafoe
minutes.
being like an angel or what.
With
He's
that
kind of
little
like the
weird cap.
gatekeeper of heaven. You know?
That's cool. I dug
Yeah.
it. I dug it.
Can we talk about the bathroom scene?
Yeah.
Okay, it's beautifully, you know, shot, cinematography, great. What's the point?
I got you.
I felt like he was just buying time.
I got you.
Why
Can
are
I
there-
take?
why
Can
are
I
there
take this
3
one?
sinks?
I got you.
With
Can
one
I
of the
take this
most-
one?
Okay,
Yes.
wait, real quick. On a cinematography front, what
Beautiful.
makes that but what makes it challenging? Because I don't think a lot of people know this, so I think it's like a cool little like.
Yeah.
If you ever get any of these wide-angle lenses, try to replicate the shot. It's gonna have this curve and this bow, and it's just natural with optics. That optics naturally, as you get wider, you'll get that fisheye effect. It's a super large space. It's a whole room, and you can see how big everything is, but it keeps it very like square. There's very few lenses, and I think
for sure.
there's recently, I think Wes worked with the DP in like a new one that came out, but it's one that has very, very minimal distortion. And I also think that that's why they cut off the sides of the framing to keep it like a 4x6.
You think it was cheated?
For sure.
I think it was cheated.
For
I
sure.
think it might
so?
have been cheated. I think it might have been cheated. I'm also trying to make a commentary on the what's the absurdity of a rich person sitting in the bathtub, smoking a cigar,
I
having
got
3
that.
sinks. One of the sinks is filled with
Ice.
for champagne.
For champagne.
Yeah.
I mean, like it. I think
He's
it's
got
just
the record player behind him.
Yeah, it's just the absurdity of doing this in your fucking
Wait, go on.
bathroom. With how many servants present? Three servants.
Writer
I think it
Roald
was.
Dahl.
I think it was just like that. I think it's just the absurdity.
Yeah, Robert
of
Yeoman.
Think of it like Kubrick, right? Kubrick does that in Clockwork Orange. He's gonna set up the space.
Milk Lounge?
Yeah, the Milk Lounge.
Yeah.
The Milk Lounge is gonna set up the vibe. That's a long ass fucking opener, dude. It's like the Milk Lounge. We're gonna walk through the Milk Lounge. We're gonna see the world. We're gonna then we see these fucking goons in the back drinking and plotting. But it's setting up the world,
Showing us how.
So I think this is very much setting up this character, the absurdity, how much money he has, how much power he has, how little care he has through certain things. He's reading books, smoking a cigar, and he doesn't have a care in the world. And then you end up finding out he has a lot of cares in the world. Like he's backtracking in his life to rectify certain things. Then he ends up. Think about the juxtaposition of the last shot.
I was about to bring
He
that
ends up in this fucking shack of a house, and that's where like his family lives. All the kids with the woman, like they live in this fucking shack.
I was talking to Meg about that, and I'm glad you brought up the juxtaposition because seeing where he was in this big palace, you know, I describe a lot like Citizen Kane. Yeah. This mansion where you could tell he has this art. Like I think he even brings it up to somebody like, don't just have a good piece of art, have a masterpiece and all that.
Yeah.
Like he has lavish expenses everywhere.
Yeah.
But he's missing connection. And then at the very end, that little table with a cheap deck of cards, with a little thing of whiskey, whatever whiskey it is, that is more representative of him finding true joy than him at the beginning with millions of servants and people.
And you only hear him talk about his passion once. When they're serving Michael Cera the food, and he's like, I'm a good cook. I do this, and I love cooking. Only once in the entire film.
And a
And
good
in the
dishwasher.
end,
And a good
it was the nun
Yeah.
was talking to the girl in charge of the convent. She
Yeah,
wrote
yeah.
a letter like, "Hey, my husband is a really good cook too." And it was like, "Oh, that's where he." And the dad also was like, "I love my daughter.
Yeah.
So yes, I'll give you the blessing for you to marry her."
Oh,
So that's like already.
I missed that.
Yeah. And then remember the wedding ring that he gave to
Same one.
Yeah, that it was the same one that he's like,
Same
oh yeah,
one.
I
And
asked
she's
my
like,
dad.
"Isn't that
Tosses
the
the
fake
box
one?"
also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like,
He
oh
tells
well,
him-
she returned it, and I asked if I could, use
But yeah,
I
like
could
in the
borrow
beginning,
it.
how he has like a big table. I was like, why do I want this big table if I'm never gonna fill it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then why do I have a lot if I'm never gonna have my daughter?
Yeah.
You know?
No, yeah. Is it safe to say that the Phoenician Scheme is Orson Welles, or it's rather
Wes' take on Orson.
Well, wait. It's Citizen Kane's arc fulfilled.
Yes, absolutely.
Because he dies not reaching Rosebud.
No.
Oh, I was going to bring that up, the whole religious aspect. So, like, there's this notion of, like, when it comes to finding fulfillment, and some people believe that optimism in the lens of atheism is that you're not going to have extra life after you die. Meaning, if you, like, let's say, die tomorrow, you're in the ground, that's it.
Yeah.
So, in that lens, a lot of people can get cynical and say, I need to do everything now, or I need to buy everything now, or in this case, they need to surround themselves with all these luxuries because this is life.
Yeah.
Life is right here, right now, and if I don't have these luxuries today, I won't have them tomorrow. But him dying was the thing that was like, oh, that's even with all these luxuries today, there might be something after. And if that is true, whether or not like I'm just in a
It's like
psychosis,
Louise, by the way, and they explore that a lot, right? She's the catalyst. She's the catalyst to be like, do you believe in God? Sadly, no, I'm a scientist. And stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's like Louis' bit. Louis has a bit on religion and him like, I'm an atheist. Louis says like, I don't believe in God and stuff like that. But what if I'm fucking wrong? Like it'll suck if I'm so fucking wrong. Like I've been an asshole to God for my whole life.
Yeah.
So it'll be really bad if I'm wrong and there is a God and stuff like that. And I think that might be how most rich people who, for a lot of people, religion and depending on God is like, oh, I don't have enough to eat today. Like that's most of the world.
Yeah.
And that's why religion is so feasible to like go around and say, hey, yeah, there's something you can believe in. For rich people, it's like, I do whatever the fuck I want. I don't need God. Like I am God. I can pay for this person, or I can pay my medical bills, or I can pay like food and stuff.
And even if you look at like religion, like because there's that aspect, and then this film also explores the aspect of religion being used like a business.
Yeah.
I love that.
For sure.
Later on it's like, oh, hey, are you able to do conversions, and will you help sign this deal? It's like, oh, you won't sign the deal. It's like, oh, I thought about that. So I got like 9 extra souls over here you can have, my kids.
Yeah,
and they're
it's
all
great.
praying, like they all look the same, but that's
Yeah.
just the way
Yeah.
that they look at it.
Yeah,
they're
he even got baptized. I saw
Yeah,
when they
they're
got
tagged.
married.
He did.
He got baptized.
It's
too.
like There Will Be Blood. He becomes saved.
abandoned his boy.
He abandoned his child for a business deal.
Yeah, but at the end, I do think, again, you're right. This is if Cain had that redemption arc.
Yeah.
If Cain had that
fourth act.
Yeah, that fourth act, the near death to realize that there's more in this world.
Right.
And I think the film, as overly circuitous and complicated as it may look on the facade, it's all just that. It's all about trying to find what the real joy of life is,
Yeah,
and
for
what,
sure.
what all this matters.
It's very wholesome, man. It's very
Yeah.
wholesome. It's a very wholesome film if you think about it. It's not as existential as Asteroid City.
Yeah, Asteroid City was screaming to the unknown and it
Yeah.
not screaming back.
Yeah.
I just hate to be that audience member, but I just think like it got kind of stale at a certain point. I think they could added more humor with Michael. I think they could have added a little bit more twist to the middle.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I also think that
I love everything you guys are saying. It's just
in a weird way, it to me, I felt like the characters worked the same way you would see in like a sitcom. I usually describe sitcoms as being very interesting.
Sitcoms?
Yeah, sitcoms.
Sitcoms, huh?
Yeah, I
you
say
said
sitcoms.
You pop them?
I use it
Sitcoms.
zip.
Zip.
Zipcoms?
They're called zipcons.
They're called sitcoms of the nest.
Sitcoms.
Not zitcoms.
Sitcoms.
Like cinema.
Cinema.
Use your words.
Hey, words are hard. I got a lazy
That's
tongue, man.
fair, that's
no,
fair.
but I was gonna say that in that writing style, when you look at a the
You
characters.
could say situational comedy if that helps.
Oh God. Situational comedy.
What's it?
That's what a sitcom
The
is.
dictionary definition.
I
Yeah.
know. No, sitcoms.
Uh-huh. Good job.
That's hard. No, when you look at sitcoms, the characters have to have some element that will never change. Like when you look at like to me, I don't look at How I Met Your Mother because I haven't seen it. But when I look at like Frasier, or when I look at Cheers, in
You're
those ones,
definitely a Frasier guy.
yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
damn. No, or even like Friends, you have to have the characters where there's aspects of them that will never change, and it makes it interesting because you're throwing them to different situations.
But they have to survive 9 seasons, so they better not change.
Exactly.
fully.
Like they might, let's say like that's why most of them end when somebody like gets married or makes an actual life change, because when those big life changes happen, then now their character is able to develop, and then you can't write a situation for them anymore.
That's what's special about something like How I Met Your Mother, because you know how it ends. He meets the mom. That's it. It's built in. You know that's
Spoiler.
Day one. Come on, it's in the title.
I didn't know that.
It's in the title. It's in the title.
Nah.
It's in the title.
But my point is, that's between you meeting the love of your life and, say, graduating college, how much life happens in that lifespan, right? You can build 9 seasons into that. Yeah. But that character isn't going to have its full arc in the first season. Like, you're going to have to go through ups and downs to get to this point and then finally arrive.
And I guess, it's saying, like, how long can we really stretch something out? I just feel like in this one, you're getting characters that there is a core to them, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting. And that also lends itself.
What stimulates their core.
Well, that lends itself to being able to look at this movie through so many different lenses. If they're constantly changing, then it becomes a overly plot heavy film where then really the film is just this character going through a situation. But if they don't change, then they become a concept. They become something that can be viewed in different aspects and angles. Like, him as a businessman, everything he does as a businessman can be viewed from a lot of perspectives. And that's why you need something constant about him and something constant about her being a nun. Like, I know that it can feel flat, and maybe that's where you feel like the restrain, but it's because if you can't overly develop them until the very end, because that we need to be able to maintain that lens, that consistency. If that makes sense. Like, I think that
makes sense, but I mean, we could be seen in other movies where they develop.
No, but look at like, and I know it's a different medium, but look at like a painting, like an abstract painting, and how it's the same painting, but if you look at it on one day and look at it on a different day, based on how you're feeling, it could have different meanings, it could have different perspectives. I've
heard you say that, but that is true.
Yeah, and I think that's what
stage of life.
That's what Wes Anderson films are becoming. They're becoming these singular art pieces that you can come back to and look at any time, and you'll have a different perspective. Right now, none of us are at the stage where we're like fathers, but watching this film as a father with that lens is going to be very different.
For sure.
You know, I think right now,
like the first perspective we got off the bat was from Javier, who is a father.
Yeah,
you know,
and something like that, like though these films are going to have a whole new lens. I remember watching. Again, like Fantastic Mr. Fox when I was younger, and the characters I was connecting with more at the time was like Ash and Christopherson, because those characters are like annoyed that they don't feel like they have a voice in a world that's just really crazy. But as I've gotten older, like now I'm identifying more with Mr. Fox, somebody who's like, I just feel like I'm in a rut in society and life, and I've been wanting to break out of that and get some extra energy, but to break out of that means I'm destroying the stability I have with family, you know, like
you want to get out of the hole.
Yeah. So that's how they are now. They're just these art pieces that you have to view this stage. And then each time you review them, throw a different lens on or throw the same lens on and you'll
revisit.
Get it.
We talked about this with Tenenbaums. We revisit, Wes Anderson films every 10 years. Like all of them.
You know what I think that's happening with me? I think I just want him to be the type of director that I want him to go with. Mm-hmm. I think that's just where I'm getting stuck at. I just feels repetitive. I understand what you guys are saying.
Isn't that the director?
I think it's me.
Do you think? You're going to directly relate to this. Isn't that the director equivalent of being typecast?
Oh, so what are you saying though?
That directors don't want to be in the box, dude.
But in this case, he does though.
No,
well, not in this case, but he doesn't want to change that.
He doesn't want to change what?
Being typecast as symmetrical,
exactly,
and sharp at dialogue.
But he's not doing that for the sake of doing that as a signature. He's doing that because he thinks that this story can be told in this mold a lot better.
That's what I'm learning. Yeah,
like directors don't want to be in a box in the sense that like, oh, I don't want Wes to just be the quirky, funny, comedic relief guy. I want him to tell a complex story.
Yeah, but I mean, he hasn't really strayed off from his tourism, right?
I think he has. I think. I don't know if straight off is the right word. I think grown is the better word.
Yeah, because
he's grown in his
evolved.
You can tell there's something different.
You don't think he's evolved?
No, you could tell there's something different with this film, and really where the priorities are lying, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
Look at the visual contrast to the main story and then the heaven shots. All the heaven shots look like they're on a stage. And they look very like singular, but that's where I feel like it really shines the fakeness of like the sets.
I felt kind of when they did the negative.
Oh yeah,
you didn't feel like kind of cheated, like yo.
It to me, after especially watching something like Breathless, I'm starting to understand this idea of minimalistic storytelling and like what are the most essential elements to get that shock. To me,
it's also
the negative and the flashback in.
Did you like that? Did you think like, oh, okay, that was...
Yeah, because to me, it's the easiest way, and not easy.
That's the perfect way.
No.
How do you want to see cheap or easiest?
But it's the most effective way to shock the audience. It's almost like the thunder, like when you see like thunder in a film and everything lights up and gets dark really, really quick. But it kind of like it's a shock to the characters. It's a shock to your viewers because visually everything's having a sharp contrast. And I feel like for him, even like being in heaven, that first moment that we get, the negative, that's the ultimate shock. Though the negative, the reason it looks so scary and abstract to us is because it's completely flipping our world upside down.
You don't think it's Wes just saying, I could get away with this?
No, I think if anything, it might be him using a tool that other people have cheapened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trying to bring it back. There's a lot of people that, again, it's a weird vicious cycle, dude. It's like they saw this in classic cinema, probably something in the Marx Brothers, where they used it for comedic effect, or Mickey Mouse with seeing the bones through the skeleton and shit like that. And then it bringing back to, like, say, comedies that just used it to, again, cheapen the effect. But seeing it in the original Marx Brothers films, or Chaplin use it, or Buster Keaton, it was trying to do something. It was trying to say something with it. So to bring it back in this effect where it won't, if you think about it, in the Benicio world, it wouldn't make sense. But in heaven, it would.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
in the abstract, in
flip
the ether
of what reality looks like. Like a genuine flip.
I think I just need to get out of my head, man. I'm seeing all these. I'm like, is he cheating us? Is he being effective? But too much.
That's where I think an auteur it has gotten to the level where he knows all the tools at hand and is now crafting a story with the right tools. For sure. You know, and that's voice. Yeah. Because I think when, like us right now, I'd say when you're learning to be an auteur, you're making your bad films. The bad films are really that you just don't know how to tell stories yet. You're still like learning how to effectively communicate an idea with all the tools at hand. But every time we make a movie, the reason we're learning is because we're learning about that new tool in the shed, or we're learning how to use that same tool better.
I wanted to talk about that really quick, just to liken the tools and what you're getting. You know how like in the corn mazes, there's a new pattern every year.
Yeah.
Right. There's a new pattern every single year. You don't want to use the same pattern every fucking year. So the tools that you have, the lawnmowers, the rakes, the hose, whatever you use to make these patterns, maybe somebody brought a new fucking lawnmower that makes perfect circles or whatever the fuck. That's a new tool. Like those tools, I'm going to go back to the same tools that I've always had, and then there's going to be new tools that I really like to make this new pattern. But you're going to destroy the pattern every year. And I think that's what Wes Anderson's doing. He's got a plethora of tools that he's gained in his, 10 films or however many he's done so far. And those tools are so effective, and they're easy to get. Like, oh, I know what to do with this one. I know I'm going to pan and shift. Let's just use that in this scenario. I know that it's going to be effective. There are these quick shorthands that he knows already. He's programmed in his brain over 10 films. He already knows these. They're easy to him. But then that new tool is going to be very specific, shooting in black and white.
The little turn, the little
camera move and turn. All these new tools are going to be effective to this new pattern. But he's never going to repeat the pattern.
Okay, so here's the big question for the law. How did he jump from, what was the last one? French Dispatch or?
No, Asteroid City.
Asteroid City. Oh
well, technically it was Henry Sugar.
So how do you think he took the leap? How he evolved?
How he evolved is...
With this one, from Asteroid City, he created his own little city.
It's because Asteroid City is hyper metaphorical. Like it really is.
Is that what... Okay.
And I'd feel like this one's him having a more grounded story. But if you look at something like The World of Henry Sugar and all the shorts, which are based off Roald Dahl
I think
stories.
that's where the leap is. The leap is from Asteroid City to Henry Sugar.
Okay, I gotta see that.
Because when you watch
the one-
those, then it's like hype. Oh my god, the style and even
forget about it.
the set design. Like there's a moment,
And it's not similar to this. It's similar to this in like
the heaven scenes.
approach. Sure, the heaven scenes, but I mean, it is much more theater.
Yeah,
Henry Sugar.
because there's a moment. It's in the story's called The Swan.
The Swan.
And if there's a moment when the author's like going and talking about a boy going through a cornfield, and then in the cornfield, like it looks like a normal cornfield.
Yeah.
Then a door opens
Yeah.
up, like
Yeah.
the you could tell like it's all a set, and they really want you to know it's a set. But
okay.
visually, like what they play with there, it's similar like that commercial we watched
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah. For
Where
sure.
they open up doors and they're going through things. But I
yeah.
feel like it's exploring this new way of telling a story visually, but with something that's already been written. The story, a thorough line story that could be told a million different ways. Like we already know point A and point B,
Right.
but now he's exploring this style. And I think this film was his first feature back to saying, I'm just going to tell a single story that's not overly metaphorical. You can look at different lenses, but this is the story. Like the point A to point B, you know? And I mean, if you go back and look at just point A to point B, you can see, oh yeah, he's planning this plot out, but he needs to get these people's approval. This is the way that he goes about it. And it is a point A to point B movie, but with a lot more of these stylistic choices that we see in like Henry Sugar, that he's matured, that's the growth element of it.
Also, like, I don't know if you guys noticed, and I'll kind of say this so we can wrap it up, but
my bad.
That I don't know if you guys noticed the different stage and using a plane is a really good way of doing this.
Yeah, plane.
A plane. Using a plane is like he paid homage to every single one of his films in this one.
Yeah.
Like he paid homage to Asteroid City because they were by the train tracks in the desert and there was nothing but desert shit like that.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
He played to the effect of like European culture and stuff like that. French Dispatch, Henry Sugar, and like the set building in this is like to me Henry Sugar.
The Indian train.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I've
Darjeeling.
seen the Henry.
Yeah. The tunnel
Oh, yeah.
for like Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Absolutely.
And like every single one, I was noticing,
Yeah, I
I was
get you, I
picking
get
up
you.
on these a lot.
Oh, the little the Easter eggs. It's
Yeah,
hey,
I think
remember
so.
this from this movie? Yeah,
I think so. In a
Yeah.
fun, playful, good way. And it may not even have been him. It might have just been like his DP or whoever. But
No, and I mean, I think to me, the Phoenician Scheme has a lot of heart. I think it's like, I know that my parents thought it was really complicated and they want a second watch, and I want a second watch too for different reasons.
For sure.
But I do think that this is a lot more grounded than his other ones, and that's probably why people who liked his older films, these singular plots, not these overcomplicated visuals mixed in with overly circuitous dialogue, like Wes Anderson Wessing over everything. What's the
masturbating.
phrase, Austin?
Masturbating in front of the film. Oh.
Wes Anderson.
Somebody commented on our TikTok. Hold on.
Yeah, let me.
I would have to
Ooh, the
find it.
tea.
What did I say last time? Felt like what's
it's like he's just jerking off on the lens
He's
or
just
whatever.
Wessing on the lens.
It's just Wessing on the lens.
Somebody said
Ew.
Wes Anderson has Wes Anderson too close to the Wes Anderson.
That's good.
So
I
I
love
feel
it.
like
And that was on what? On Rushmore? Or
Yeah, I'm one of the TikToks for.
Hey, keep
Rushmore.
bringing those.
That's so funny.
So yeah, this one definitely feels like more linear storytelling. I'm excited to see him do more of these because he's really matured his style.
Yeah.
That I think he can explore many more stories, with this same style and it being used effectively. And I think
Yeah,
he
for sure.
understands what he wants to do with it.
So just to give the audience, how does this one stand out from the next one that we're gonna watch?
Darjeeling Limited.
No, the next one we're watching in the sequence
Oh,
is
Dispatch?
the Royal Tenenbaums.
Shit,
No.
my bad, fellas.
Yes.
Yeah, next week.
Oh,
you guys
my
have to
bad,
watch
my
Royal
bad.
Tenenbaums.
Yeah, because this comes out tomorrow.
Yes.
Right, you're right.
So yeah.
You know what I meant. when I was
Tenenbaums!
talking.
Tenenbaums.
Next week, tune in for a continuation of West Month. We have
My first time watching Royal
yeah,
Tenenbaums.
my first time as well. I think for a couple of us. You had seen it before.
Yeah, I saw it the first time.
And there's like a very big unpopular opinion about that film. So
I'm so excited to watch it for the first time and have such an
So check that
review.
episode out. We're also going to be exploring like one more after
more.
that, 2 more after Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah, the Darjeeling
we got
Limited
Darjeeling and
and
French Dispatch. So yeah, we got 2 more to go for our West
Thank
month.
God.
Jeez.
wow.
And then we get into a real auteur
Dude, I
after
read
that.
another comment
Wow.
that said, "Think how you guys are past Fincher. Now you're going to
You see?
What did he say?
He said that somebody else commented like, "Thank God you're past Fincher. Now
that
you're a
hurt.
West."
That really hurt, bro.
Oh, I said that as a joke,
Oh,
but I'm
God.
serious about me saying it about Anderson.
Oh God.
Wow.
And then after that, we get into a real auteur.
Yeah.
What,
Christopher
David
Nolan.
Bowie month?
Christopher Nolan.
Oh.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of the Phoenician Scheme.
Yes.
Hopefully, you can catch
comment
it in the
what you
theaters.
think,
Yeah.
honestly.
Please watch it in theaters while it's still there.
Yes.
Great
Watching
film, and
this
also.
haven't watched it. I'm sorry.
Oh no, but I mean, go back to the theater. You know, do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out.
reanalyze a movie. Do it like me. I did a horror movie like 5 times because multiple people invited me, and every time I watched it, it was something different.
Yeah.
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 That's
it
the
was
way cinema
something
should
new,
be, I
yeah.
think. Definitely the way cinema should be.
Yeah, no.
Cinema.
Cinema should be.
Cinema.
Thank you.
Asteroid Shitty. What else did we say?
Wow.
Asteroid
Sort of
shitty.
Asteroid
Just
shitty.
a bunch of shush
No,
today.
what
I
else
still
did we
love you,
say?
Wes.
Oh my God.
I don't know,
Work with you.
but thank you guys for tuning into the
Oh,
WatchTower
wait.
Film Podcast. We'll see you next
You
week.
didn't say
What?
thanks to everybody who came in today. We have all
Yes,
these
I
ones.
did. I did at the beginning of the
Okay,
episode. You
well,
weren't paying
thanks.
attention.
Well, thank
Thanks
you for
again.
having me.
Yeah, thanks, Meg.
Thank you guys for
Please
jumping
come back
this
on.
episode.
Love you guys.
Yay.
All right. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.